What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be going over 4 different wide receiver press releases that DBs cannot guard. Let's get started. All right, guys, now before we get into this video, if you would like to train with us this offseason, we're coming out to 15 different cities across the U.S. for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver camps. So check out that very first link in the description below if you'd like some more information on how you can sign up to train with us. We're going to be coming out to San Francisco, California, Miami, Florida. Both of those camps are actually completely sold out, but then we'll be heading out to Las Vegas, Nevada, Charlotte, North Carolina, Dallas, Texas, Portland, Oregon, Nashville, Tennessee, Chicago, Illinois, Buffalo, New York, Atlanta, Georgia, Houston, Texas, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Detroit, Michigan, Boise, Idaho, and Los Angeles, California. So again, fellas, if you'd like some more information, want to train with us this offseason, check out that very first link in the description below. Let's get back to these releases. All right, guys, so the first release that we're going to be going over today is something called a burst release. So I'm going to talk to you about when to use this specific release, the DB technique against this release, the technique of it, and then I'm going to show you the example of it full speed. So this first release is called a burst release. So this release is when you have a DB who's lined up, I would say, inside shade. So this is going to be like where we're lined up. Red cone is like where the DB would be. He's inside shade, maybe about 2 yards away. So what we would want to do in this situation, if you have to run any type of route, let's say, for example, it's a fade route, we would obviously want to close the distance with this DB, try to step on his toes, close the distance, make him uncomfortable, and then work to the outside. Use the space that we created by attacking his leverage inside. So a burst release is exactly how it sounds. You are going to burst off the line and attack his toes, and then we're going to give a crossover move to the inside. So the first step of this release is you would use your back foot. So let's say my left foot is up, my right foot is my back foot. I'm going to take a punch step. So you're going to punch the ground with your right foot. When you punch the ground, you are going to push off of this foot. You're going to slide, take 2 gather steps inside your frame, then hit a crossover and go. So it's punch, reach, gather, gather, crossover, then get up into the route. So I'm going to show you how this thing is going to look full speed. Remember, we want to use this against a DB who's inside shade about 2 to 3 yards away. All right, guys, so this next release that we want to use is something called a diamond release. So a diamond release is a release that you would use only on a slant route versus inside shade press coverage. So I'm lined up right here. Let's say, for example, I got a DB who's lined up at this red cone, as you say, inside shade. Now, this DB's entire goal being inside shade is to take away the inside. Don't let us run a slant. Don't let us run a dig, a post. Force everything to the outside where he has help, which is AKA the sideline, because if we run out of bounds, we're not doing anybody any good on the field. So what we'd want to do if I have this slant, a lot of receivers, they would try to do something like that burst release that I just showed you. This DB's inside shade, they would try to burst off the line and then just run. But this DB's entire goal being inside shade, why do we do the burst release? We do that release to get that DB who's inside shade to keep his leverage so I have more space to the outside. So if I try to just force the inside release, this DB is going to keep his leverage, get hands, and force me all the way to the inside. What we got to do is we got to attack his outside shoulder and his outside hip to try to get him to flip to a fade. Because what does no DB in man-to-man coverage want to get beat on? A fade. So we got to be a salesman of the fade. So what a diamond release would be, you're lined up here, we take 3 hard steps at his outside shoulder. So set go would be 1, 2, 3, and we break. Now, reason why we go right at his outside shoulder and hip is so he's close to us. So when I hit that 3rd step, I could put my hand on the back of his shoulder, back of his hip, and swat and throw under. So now I kept timing with my quarterback. I have spacing on the play, because when you try to force an inside release versus inside shade, he's going to reroute you inside, and the spacing of the play is going to be off. So I'm going to show you how this release is going to look full speed. Only want to use this on a slant route or maybe a 5-yard in versus inside shade press. All right, guys, so this next release we're going to be going over is something called a fake diamond release, and I would only want to use this on a fade route. So let's say I use that diamond release. I got this DB on a slant. We want to use this when he's inside shade press coverage. So now what we would do is we're going to come off the ball. We take those same 3 steps. 1, this DB's maybe seen this before. 2, I break off my 3rd step. I throw a jab back to the inside to get this DB to sit, make him think that diamond release, and then I open up to the fade. Very important when I do this is that I get skinny. A lot of wide receivers, when they try to do this fake diamond release, they'll come off the ball, they'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, but then they just fade out to the sideline, and that gives the quarterback no space to throw us open. We throw that jab back inside, hold the DB, and let's get right hip to hip with him so I can get skinny, get right next to him, and give him space to fade me open on the fade route. So I'm going to show you how this is going to look full speed. This is a great release to use when you have a fade route versus an inside shade press coverage DB. All right, guys, so this next release is going to be something called a hesitation slide and go release. So I like this anytime that you have to take an outside release versus an inside shade press coverage DB. Let's use the example of a fade route, but you could also use this on an out route, a comeback, maybe you stack them and run a post, but we like this against inside shade press. So what you're going to do is you're going to use a move called a kick step. So a kick step is where you take your back foot, you kick behind your front foot, and you load up into this front foot. This is creating explosion. It's loading up your hips so we could explode off the ball. So essentially what you're going to be doing is you're going to kick step and take a hesitation hop with your left foot and then take off and go. So it's a way to just kind of get this DB to sit to the inside and try to be patient because we're sliding to the outside, and then we take off and use our speed. So it's a way to change up tempo off that line of scrimmage. So I'm going to show you how this will look full speed in a second after I break it down slowly. So we do this kick step. So we kick, hop, take off, and go. You see guys like Justin Jefferson, Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams. They build so many releases off of this exact hesitation, skip, and go because it's a great way to get that DB to think, get him to sit inside, try to stay patient to his leverage, and then we change up tempo and beat him over the top. I'm going to show you how this is going to look full speed. All right, guys, really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you are a quarterback or wide receiver and would like to train with us in 15 different cities across the country, check out that very first link in the description below. We're coming out to 15 cities, guys, like we said, all the way from San Francisco, Miami, Florida, Las Vegas, Nevada, all over the place. So again, very first link in that description below. I'll see you guys next time.